Once this coronavirus outbreak happened, I knew it was only a matter of time until some Chinese people started passing the blame. And I want to talk about an article and a conversation that I've seen on WeChat. Because I see this happen a lot in China, where something happens and everyone else gets blamed. So this here is a WeChat conversation someone posted to me from a group. Actually, it's quite disgusting. I will put the translation on the right so everyone can understand. But I want to mention that these are parents of university students that are making these comments. So these are supposed to be, smart people. Instead, they show their true colors. And one of them says that, it is America that has created this virus and put it in China, just before Chinese New Year's. Basically, some crazy conspiracy theory. Another disgusting person says, can't we create a virus and do it to them? Implying that they want to create a biological weapon and place it in America to kill people. What is wrong with these people? But this is not only disgusting, but embarrassing to China, you would think. To think that people have come to the conclusion that America or any Western country would do such a horrible thing is just, insane. The more disgusting idea is that these are regular people, average Chinese people, making this type of discussion between one another in a WeChat group. To do so easily discuss giving people a sickness. Why aren't these people being investigated by the Chinese government? Why aren't these people being reprimanded by other Chinese? I know if I saw an American person saying it was okay to kill thousands of Chinese, I would stop him. I would argue with him. I would tell him that it is never okay to suggest taking another person's life. But that doesn't happen here in China. And here's an article that I found also discussing these types of theories. Again, the ignorance is hilarious. The idea that America would somehow place a disease into China to kill people is preposterous at best. To help people with this title, I'm going to tell you guys the title to help you understand. To help people with this a little, the article title says, 系设计空动念中过非电视每电对我们的生物战. So basically, for the people that don't understand, what it is saying is that, think about it for a second. The SARS epidemic that is happening in China is a war against us. Again, implying that this whole epidemic is happening from the outside, that it was placed in China to hurt, the loving Chinese people, the nation of China. This is a disgusting article. And the fact that these articles are put up and never taken down is, again, insanely embarrassing. So instead of just playing the blame game, let's ask ourselves a question. What is really causing this to happen? Well, one thing you'll notice is that a lot of Chinese diseases start the same way. From food that people eat, of course. You see, it has become obvious that this disease started in Wuhan, and there is evidence of this. There are videos of airplanes traveling from Wuhan to Macau where each person is being treated or at least checked for having a temperature. So at least China is putting some effort into stopping the disease, although the WHO has put out reports saying that it obviously is much worse. Considering the track record of China and putting out real statistics, they're probably right. The real question is, why do these diseases continue? Why do they continue to happen in places like China? Well, one thing happens in China. There is no real source of collected food in China. There's no distribution in China from major sources. And what I mean by that is in America, our food largely comes from the same companies, right? Basically as an example, a large source of chicken in America comes from the company Tyson. So when food is bad, you can easily trace it back to the source. Many Chinese people still have this really ignorant view that, purchasing live animals from a market, down the street is the best thing to do. When in actuality, you don't know if the source of meat is safe or not. You don't know what food the animal was fed. You don't know how clean the area it lived in was. And then on top of it, there's a lot of Chinese people that, to be fair and to be honest, don't wash their hands after they use the bathroom. They don't cover their mouths when they cough or when they sneeze. And it makes it really easy for these types of things to spread here in China. The other thing is, some people don't understand that a lot of these animals are just dirty animals and they're just better left uneaten. We know that some animals like pigeons and rats carry disease. So in the West, we don't really eat them. But here in China, people pretty much eat anything, right? A lot of different birds to dogs to really weird animals that, again, just carry disease. Many times wild game animals too. Many times Westerners, we see these markets as cool. We're like, oh, this is so great. It's a tourist attraction. But something to understand is that the hygiene and food safety practices here in China are equal to what you would expect to see in places like India or places like Africa. It's not uncommon to hear about food safety inspections being passed simply because someone bribed the inspector. I mean, even me personally, I've been to eating establishments where there are multiple signs citing different inspection ratings, and when I questioned them in Chinese, they just said that it didn't matter. And I'm like, how do safety inspections not matter? In the end, it is obvious that America has not placed any of these viruses or anything like that here in China. It is disgusting that there are Chinese people implying that America or its people have done such a thing. China's issue with the virus has come from its failure to develop socially as a nation. This country is surrounded by large buildings, public transportation, and brags about things like 5G. But from the aspect of the way people act, it is horrible. People must start washing their hands after they take a dump. People must start covering their mouths when they sneeze or cough. People must stop eating wild game animals. And people must stop going in the streets. But most of all, China must stop blaming the rest of the world when it has a problem. Prime in China, like, comment, subscribe.